Friday, June the 1st.
Good morning. I'm a skeptical Ben Mulrooney. You know that word?
Koinonia was a term for one of the groups, the volunteer groups that our church operated to help sort of, widows and orphans. And
Look how excited we get when we can...
The 14-year-old.
He is the 14-year-old. And I'm going to show you how I have spelled that word in the prompter for myself so that I can pronounce it properly. So stick around for that story. That's coming up in just a bit. In the meantime...
The dad's going to save that for his son's 14. I mean, he's probably going to go to college at 16, so he's going to need that money very soon.
And he's probably going to have a scholarship.
Oh, yeah.
I love always how calm the spelling bee champions are, right? Oh, yes. Like the things are coming down and everybody's cheering and they're like, okay.
But the great thing is like to see, because they're very poised and serious throughout the entire competition. If you've ever watched these, these competitions. But to see that smile at the end is always...
When they get it right?
That's it. Yes, exactly. It's
only
so lovely.
To be matched by the devastation when they got it wrong. And
yes. Well, there's a lot of prep that goes into that. We're talking months.
You ever watched that documentary?
Yes.
It's great.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called, but...
No.
It's good. It's good.
Is it koinonia?
I don't know. I can't even say it.
Kels, did you know the word koinonia?
No, I didn't. All right, time now to talk sports. Okay, 51 points. That's how many LeBron had in Game 1 of the NBA Finals, and it still wasn't enough to hold off the Warriors. In French Open action, Serena Williams has now advanced to the 3rd round. All eyes will be on Washington tomorrow night for Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final. The series is all tied up. Oh, boy.
Okay, what does it look like when LeBron's mad at you off court? That's what I want to know.
Well, there's tons of memes about the on-court. Like, did you see that? That he was like, what are you doing?
This is me with my kids when they won't go to bed.
Yeah, exactly. You're seeing a lot of that online.
But think about what must have been going through his mind. 51 points. He led this entire team of players for a very long time, all the way to a finals that...
And embarrassing.
And how about Serena Williams? If she wins this...
This is a great conversation. Saying something, you know that documentary? I was watching that documentary on her, which is fascinating. But she was saying something like, if you're charged with some sort of crime or you have an offense or you do something you're not supposed to do in the tennis league, it is the same as going on mat leave.
Yeah.
You're
penalized
You're penalized the exact same way.
Having a baby.
Yeah. They need a reevaluation on that one.
It's a little Handmaid's Tale.
I still haven't seen Handmaid's Tale, guys. I know I'm like one of the...
We're on mat leave. You're going to email me and be like,
I know what you mean. One of the stars, Amanda Brugel of the Handmaid's Tale, is going to be here today.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Chatting with her.
Let's chat, sir, about Serena.
We are back after this with some very adorable...
Crystal story yesterday, so we thought we'd resurrect it, bring it back. Let me explain what... Oh, amazing.
You remember that chef that we had on the show, Michael Hunter?
Oh,
he's
yeah,
a hunter?
Right? Yes, exactly. If you have any fun ones like that...
this could be a your take.
It could be. It could be. Let us know if you've got any fun names like that in your life.
With us, your morning news and weather are right after the break.
Kelsey's going to take a look at the weather across the country in just a bit. But first, let's talk about what's happening in...
I'm going to be listening.
Sure.
To gain a little bit of insight into the mind of Kanye West, I think would be invaluable. Anything? Nothing? Kelsey?
Nothing.
Good morning, AM. It is one of those conversations. Talking about race does make people feel a little bit uncomfortable, but that doesn't...
So, I mean, this is what I'm saying to Lindsey. Yeah. Unless you don't know, then you don't know. And if you're a non-white person and you travel across the border, this is something that you know about. This is something you talk about. When I first... So my passport is Canadian, but my country of origin is Sri Lanka. So when I first started, Trish said he's going to look into it. I don't know how much more he needs to look into it. He could just, come and have a conversation. I've had that before. That's more extreme, but it's usually extra questioning. Your bags will usually get pulled aside, or you'll do like the extra pat down or just the extra questions. So it's inconvenient why it happens more to mommy than it does to daddy.
What do you say to them, AM?
I just say, no, I don't. I explain to them that, Sri Lanka is a country that has had problems with war and that it is on a list. And so because mommy was born there, this is why we have the questions. What was interesting is traveling to the U.S. When the travel bans were first put in place a couple of years ago. And without us saying anything, they asked, are they going to let you across because you don't have the same skin color that we do?
Well, how did that affect you? And this is why I love, this is why this segment, I love it, because we can have those discussions here with families, maybe who don't, have that conversation. I didn't...
A services officer's discretion.
Right.
So when you look at Glenn McGregor's investigation and you see the stats and you see the numbers of who's pulled over and who's for the minister to take a look at their own cabinet, talk to the immigration minister, talk to the status of women minister, and find out when you are traveling as a regular citizen, do you get pulled over for secondary screening? Anybody who's non-white will tell you. Yes.
It is one. If I do get questioning, it'll be, one or two questions. That's why that conversation is not experienced. I think that's a great solution.
And just to add,
it gets booked up, and then you've got the end of the year, and then all of a sudden it's summer's
Listen,
over.
we've been very lucky so far, at least here in Toronto. I can only compare it to what I know. And last year, the weather was terrible at this time
Oh,
of the
it
year.
was.
And
So
see,
much
we've
rain.
we've already been able to enjoy over a week of summer-like weather. I'm perfectly happy with where we are right now.
And I'm one of probably the only people in this room that hopes the heat stays away just for a
million.
Is that going to make you more likely to go get a ticket?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Probably.
Yeah.
Is that,
Yeah. I don't regularly buy.
I don't
so
either.
It's usually when we run a story, I'm like, right, that's something
Yeah,
I
I'll
could
go
do.
do that.
So, Daryl, if you're watching and you're out doing errands today, just pick one up or two.
There you go.
Kelsey, what about you?
Yeah, I literally.
That resonated with a lot of people, you know, having to have those tough conversations with your children that, you know, other families don't have to go through,
Yeah,
right?
it's true.
So it's a great
want,
one.
You never want your children to see you in a position of vulnerability, and when you're the person who's being stalked or being screened, you brought me to tears telling your story.
Yeah, or just to reinforce that idea that different skin color means different treatment, because you know you raise your kids that everybody should be treated equally.
Exactly. And what's great is that we can have these discussions. We were talking, they're a little bit tough to have, but doesn't mean we don't have them, right? And we do it respectfully, and we do it we engage with
They
everyone.
get less difficult the more you have them.
There you go.
That's great.
So